You know, when you're a beekeeper, it's funny how some of the smallest decisions can have the absolute biggest impact. Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about topics out there, the hive entrance. It sounds so simple, right? It's just a door. But this one choice, well, it can literally mean life or death for an entire colony. So that really gets us to the heart of it. Should you give your hive just one door at the bottom, or should you add a second one up top? It seems like a minor detail, but the answer is going to shape everything. How your bees handle moisture, how they get through the winter, and how they defend their home from all sorts of invaders. Okay, so let's start with the argument for an upper entrance. The best way to think about this is to imagine cracking open a window on the second floor of your house. That's really the philosophy here, the open window idea. It's all about creating airflow and giving the bees another option for getting in and out. And you'd be surprised at just how many benefits this open window actually gives you. First, it lets all that warm, humid air escape, which is a total game changer, especially in the winter. It also means your bees aren't trapped when snow piles up. Plus, it helps keep out pests that crawl around on the ground. And, this is a big one, it gives your foragers a direct shortcut to the honey supers. Super efficient. But out of all of those benefits, and I really can't stress this enough, moisture control is the big one. Dampness in the winter is an absolute killer for a colony. That upper entrance basically acts like a chimney, just drawing out all that nasty, harmful humidity. It's the key to keeping the hive dry and the bees healthy when it's cold outside. All right, so we've talked about the open window. Now let's flip the script and look at the total opposite strategy, the bottom-only entrance. Think of this as the fortress philosophy. With this approach, you're not thinking about ventilation. You're thinking about one thing, and one thing only, defense. And, it just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Every extra door is another potential weak spot in your defenses. When you only have one entrance to worry about, the colony can concentrate all its guard bees right there, creating a really powerful choke point against wasps, yellow jackets, or even bees from other hives trying to rob them. So right here, this is the central trade-off. It's the big dilemma. If you go for more ventilation with an upper entrance, you're giving up some security. If you go for maximum security with just a bottom entrance, you're taking a bigger risk with moisture. It's this constant balancing act that every single beekeeper has to figure out. So how in the world do you make the right choice? Well, it all comes down to your unique situation. This is so important. There is no single right answer here. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. There's only what's best for your bees in your climate. Okay, so let's break this down into a simple framework. It really just boils down to two key factors you need to think about. First, your local climate, and second, the strength of your particular colony. First up is climate. Let's say you live somewhere that gets slammed with harsh winters. We're talking lots of rain, lots of snow. In that case, an upper entrance pretty much becomes a lifesaver. It guarantees the bees have a way out when they're snowed in, but even more critically, it lets out that moisture that can be so deadly in the cold. And then there's the second piece of the puzzle. How strong is your colony? Think about it. A huge, booming colony with tens of thousands of bees, they've got the manpower to defend two entrances, no problem. But a smaller, weaker colony, they could get overwhelmed in a heartbeat if they have to guard a second opening. For them, having a single, easy-to-defend fortress might be a matter of pure survival. Okay, so let's pull all of this together into a really simple framework. Now, don't think of these as hard and fast rules. This is just a guide to help you weigh the pros and cons for your own specific hives. So, look, if you're in a cold, snowy climate, it doesn't matter if your colony is strong or weak. You're probably gonna want that upper entrance. The ventilation is just too important. Now, if you're in a milder, drier area and you have a big, strong colony, they can probably do just fine with only a bottom entrance. But if that colony is weak, even in a mild climate, you've got to prioritize defense. Stick with that single bottom entrance to keep them safe. And hey, remember, this isn't happening in a vacuum, right? The entrance is just one part of your whole hive management strategy. Other things you do, like using a quilt box to absorb moisture, can completely change the equation. You might find that with really good insulation and moisture control, you don't even need that upper entrance, even in a pretty cold climate. So that's really what it all boils down to. You have to ask yourself this one question. What does my hive need more? Are they fighting a battle against moisture, where an open window is their best friend? Or are they facing a constant threat from robbers, where building the strongest possible fortress is the only thing that matters? Look at your bees, look at your weather. The right answer is waiting for you right there in your own backyard.